You know, there are moments in life that feel like a movie, scenes that are etched into your soul and never let you go. Picture the scene: Newport Beach, California. The afternoon sun was painting a mansion golden, its garden looking like something straight out of a magazine. Michael Sullivan had just parked his truck in the garage, the fatigue of a long workday weighing on his shoulders, when a sound cut through the perfect silence of the place. And it wasn't the usual cry of a child throwing a tantrum. It was a visceral sound, a cry of pure loss, a desperation that made his father's heart pound. He followed the noise, his chest tightening, and what he found in the side garden was an image that would haunt him forever. There, kneeling on the stone ground, was Arthur, his 6-year-old son. His small, dirty hands were plunged into the outdoor trash can, frantically digging through everything. Thick tears streaked his dirty little face as he tossed aside papers and leftovers in a frantic race against time. His school uniform, once pristine, was now stained with dirt, and who knows what else. "Arthur, my son, what are you doing out here?" Michael ran over, panic rising in his throat. The boy lifted his red, swollen eyes, and between sobs, his trembling voice emerged. "Daddy, Aunt Valerie threw them away. She threw away the most important things. I have to find them, Daddy. I really have to find them before the garbage truck takes them away. Forever." "What things, Arthur? What things?" "The things that Aunt Valerie threw away." Michael knelt beside him, trying to understand his agony. Arthur wiped his nose on his sleeve and whispered, "Grandma Helen's letters and my family drawing. She said it was trash, but it's not trash, Daddy. Grandma said it was very important for me to keep the letters. Very, very important." Before Michael could piece it together, Valerie's cold, impatient voice echoed across the garden. "Michael, what's going on out there? For God's sake, Arthur is making a terrible mess." She approached, impeccable in her designer workout set, her blonde hair without a single strand out of place. Her blue eyes, however, sparked with poorly disguised irritation. Upon seeing her, Arthur flinched, seeking refuge behind his father's legs like a frightened animal. Valerie sighed, a theatrical sound. "I've already explained to him more than 10 times that I threw away that pile of old paper that was just collecting dust in his room. Yellowed letters from your deceased mother and some meaningless childish scribbles. Arthur needs to stop clinging to the past, Michael. He's 6 years old. He needs to learn to overcome his grief, to accept our new family." "But Daddy," Arthur tried, but was cut off by her harsher tone. "That's enough, Arthur. You can't be digging through trash like a homeless person. What will the neighbors think? What kind of upbringing are you getting here?" It was then that the boy, looking directly at his father with a fear that chilled Michael's soul, whispered the words that would change everything. "Grandma told me not to let anyone throw the letters away. And she said not to let the mean auntie change my medicine, Daddy. Grandma said that was very dangerous." A heavy silence fell over the garden. Valerie tensed for a split second, but quickly forced a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Michael, do you see how he invents these crazy stories? A child's mind creates fantasies when it can't process the reality of death. Helen died of a heart attack 3 months ago. Arthur couldn't possibly be remembering conversations that never happened. This is just his imagination." She approached Arthur firmly and took his arm. "Come on, young man. Time for a bath. You're all filthy from that disgusting trash, and enough inventing lies about medicine and mean people. Grandma Helen is in heaven and can't talk to anyone down here. What you're saying is a very ugly lie." But Arthur clung to Michael's leg, as if his life depended on it, trembling from head to toe. "It's not a lie, Daddy. I swear to God it's not a lie. Grandma did say it. She said the mean auntie—" The crying swallowed the rest of his words, a cry that came from a deep place, a place of pure terror, and Michael, holding his trembling son, felt a chill run down his spine. It was as if the innocence of a 6-year-old was about to unravel a terrible secret, a truth he was never prepared to hear. 2 hours passed, 2 hours in which Michael's world began to crumble. Valerie had left for her sacred Pilates class, and Arthur, still visibly shaken, was playing silently in his room. Alone, Michael discreetly returned to the garden. The outdoor trash can had already been emptied, but an instinct, an inner voice, guided him to the other cans in the service area, and there, at the bottom of the third can, he searched. He found them. Pieces of yellowed paper, torn into minuscule fragments, and the remains of a child's drawing, shredded with meticulous fury. Someone had taken the trouble to destroy them, as if to ensure those memories were erased forever. With the patience of a detective, Michael took all the fragments to his office and began to assemble the most terrifying puzzle of his life. The first thing to take shape was the drawing. Arthur's small hand had created a happy family, a tall man, obviously him, a woman with long hair and a big smile, his late first wife Catherine, and a little boy between them, all holding hands. But what made the air catch in Michael's lungs was on the side of the page. Arthur had drawn the same long-haired woman in a second scene, only this time she was falling down a flight of stairs. Around the figure, the boy had drawn colorful little stars, his childish way of representing pain. And underneath, in shaky letters, the sentence, "Mommy fell down the stairs and didn't wake up." Michael's heart raced uncontrollably. Catherine, his first wife, dead for a year and 2 months. The official cause? A fall down the stairs during a severe diabetic episode. A tragic accident, everyone had said. And who had found her? Valerie, the private nurse hired to care for her. Why would Arthur, only 5 at the time, specifically draw the scene of the fall? Was that terrible image seared into his mind? Had he seen something the adults had missed? With hands trembling with anxiety, he continued, piecing together the yellowed fragments of the letters. The handwriting was unmistakable. It was his mother's, Helen. The first one he managed to piece together read, "My dearest son Michael, if you are reading this letter, it is because something terrible has happened to me, and I was not able to tell you personally what I discovered. I need you to know the truth about Valerie, before it's too late for you and for Arthur. The world seemed to stop. Helen, dead for 3 months. A massive heart attack, Valerie's version. Stress from a heated argument with her about Arthur's care. But if Helen was writing secret letters, warning him about Valerie, was her death really so natural? Michael pieced together a few more fragments. Valerie is not who she says she is, my son. She was working as a nurse at the regional hospital when Catherine was being treated for type 1 diabetes. She was the one who offered to take care of your wife at home. The memory came rushing back. Valerie had appeared like a guardian angel, always helpful, always knowing what to do. A godsend, Catherine used to say. But I discovered something that will shock you, Michael, Helen's letter continued. Valerie was switching Catherine's medication. The insulin pills she was administering were not the correct ones prescribed by the doctor. Michael's hands shook so much he almost dropped the papers. His breathing grew shallow. He remembered how Valerie had taken complete control of the medication, organizing everything. And he remembered how Catherine had worsened drastically in her final weeks, despite following the treatment. The doctors couldn't understand why her diabetes was so out of control. Michael managed to assemble more pieces, and what he read made his blood run cold. The pills she was giving Catherine 3 times a day did not contain insulin, my son. They were empty capsules filled with common wheat flour that she prepared herself. Catherine was repeatedly falling into diabetic comas because she wasn't receiving any real treatment. The reality hit him like a punch to the gut. His wife had suffered an unnecessary agony induced by someone she trusted. Her death wasn't an accident. It was sabotage. And when your poor wife began to suspect that something was wrong, the letter went on, when she said the medicine wasn't working and that she was going to see a second doctor, that is exactly when the so-called fall down the stairs happened. Michael dropped the papers and ran to the bathroom, vomiting. The memory of that day returned with sharp clarity. Valerie calling, frantic, him arriving home to find Catherine unconscious at the foot of the stairs, Valerie administering first aid, and Arthur hiding behind the sofa, crying silently, as if he had witnessed hell itself. The letter's version meant that Valerie had pushed Catherine down the stairs. And Arthur, at 5 years old, might have seen everything. He returned to the letters, desperate for more and for less. Helen's second letter was an echo of Catherine's past. She is doing the same thing to me, my dear son. My medication for high blood pressure and heart problems has been replaced with common vitamins. I feel my chest getting worse, with constant pain and shortness of breath, but Valerie insists it's normal for my age. Michael's hands trembled as he read. Last night I woke up with a terrible pain in my chest. Valerie said it was just anxiety and gave me 2 pills to calm down. I fell asleep immediately, but in the morning I realized the pills tasted too sweet, like candy. My son, I'm so afraid she is drugging me. The third letter was more fragmented, the handwriting shaky. If I die before I can prove all this to you, look for evidence hidden in my room, inside the Bible your father gave me, and protect Arthur. Please, please, protect my grandson. She has already started with him too. I saw her swapping his allergy pills for colored candies she buys at the downtown pharmacy. Helen died 2 weeks after writing that. A massive heart attack, after an argument with Valerie. At that exact moment, a scream from Arthur's room jolted Michael from his thoughts. "Daddy, Daddy, help me! It's so itchy!" He ran upstairs and found his son on the bed, scratching frantically with red welts appearing on his skin and his breathing becoming labored. "What happened, Arthur? What did you eat?" The boy was gasping. "I didn't eat anything different, Daddy. Just the snack Aunt Valerie made. It tasted funny, but she said it was a new vitamin." Michael's heart pounded. Valerie appeared at the door, feigning surprise. "Oh no, he must have eaten something with peanuts at school." She approached, her concern staged. "Let me handle this, Michael. I know exactly what to do." She took a vial from her purse and pulled out 2 colored pills. "There you go, my love," she said. "This will go away quickly. Aunt Valerie knows how to take care of you." But Arthur recoiled, clinging to his father. "I don't want to take them, Daddy. These pills taste like candy." Arthur whispered in Michael's ear. "Grandma Helen said not to take medicine that tastes sweet." A shiver ran down Michael's spine. The words from the letter. He pretended to agree. "Of course, Valerie, you know about these things." He took the pills but secretly pocketed one. "I'll get him some water," he said, taking his son to the bathroom. "There," he whispered, "don't swallow it, son. Pretend to swallow, but spit it out in the sink." Arthur obeyed. Back in the room, Michael announced, "I'm taking him to the hospital just to be sure." Valerie protested, her voice almost desperate. "There's no need to be so dramatic, Michael. I'm a nurse, I can handle this. Trust me." But Michael was already leaving with his son in his arms, ignoring her pleas. In the car, Arthur whispered, "Daddy, I'm scared of Aunt Valerie. She always wants to give me medicine, but then I feel worse." At the hospital, Michael sought out Dr. Evans, Arthur's pediatrician. "Doctor, I need you to examine my son and analyze this pill. I suspect it's not medicine." 20 minutes later, the doctor called him in. His expression was grave. "Mr. Sullivan, this pill, it's a sugar candy. If his allergic reaction had been more severe, your son could have died from anaphylactic shock. Who is giving this to him?" Michael felt his legs weaken. "His stepmother. She says she's a nurse." According to the tests, Dr. Evans continued, "This isn't the first time. Arthur shows signs of several allergic reactions that have gone untreated. I recommend you contact the police immediately." While waiting for the test results, Michael called his older brother John in New York. "John, I need your help. I've discovered something terrible." He told him everything. John's response was a dose of harsh reality. "Michael, I never trusted her. But you seemed happy. Remember when she showed up, right when Catherine was at her worst? It's too much of a coincidence. Hire a private investigator. Look into her past. If she's really a killer, confronting her could be dangerous." Back at home, he found Valerie pacing nervously. "How is he? Did the doctor say anything?" The questions tumbled out. "Everything's fine," Michael lied. "It was just a mild reaction." Valerie smiled with exaggerated relief. And Arthur's behavior, which he now understood was not a tantrum but a survival instinct, was confirmed. As the boy was watching TV, Michael heard Valerie's icy whisper in his son's ear. "Next time, Daddy won't be there in time to save you." That night, Michael's world fell apart completely. While Valerie slept, he went to his mother's room. Inside the old Bible, just as she had said, was a sealed envelope. Inside were death certificates, 3 men, all married to Valerie before him. Robert Silver, 42, a businessman from Scottsdale, died of an acute heart attack, leaving a $2 million life insurance policy. Fernando Costa, 50, a pharmacy owner in Greenwich, died of diabetic complications, leaving the business to his widow. Dr. Charles Miller, 45, a cardiologist in Bellevue, died of a stroke. In every case, Valerie was there, the dedicated nurse. In every case, she inherited a fortune. And the most monstrous detail, they all had young children from previous marriages, and all the children had died mysteriously months later. Pedro Silva, 4, from untreated pneumonia. Lucas Costa, 7, from an asthma attack without medication. Raphael Miller, 6, from an allergic reaction, always under her care. Attached was a full report from a private investigator. Valerie Miranda Sullivan did not exist. Her name was Valderine Souza, an ex-convict with a record for fraud and forgery. In prison, she had taken basic nursing courses. Enough to deceive, enough to kill. Her specialty, choosing victims with chronic illnesses so she could switch their medication without raising suspicion. The next morning, Michael called the investigator from the report, Robert Fisher. His voice was serious. "Mr. Sullivan, I've been expecting your call. Mrs. Helen asked me to provide you with additional information if anything happened to her." Fisher scheduled a meeting. "Your mother paid for 6 months of continued investigation," he explained. "I have updated information. Valerie is in contact with Dr. Frederick Vance, the doctor who signed the death certificates of the 3 previous husbands. They've been partners for over 10 years. He falsifies documents in exchange for 30% of the inheritances." Fisher showed him photos of the 2 meeting. "I've intercepted conversations. They're planning to speed things up with you 2. Apparently, Valerie is getting impatient." And the final, most bizarre revelation, "There's something else," Fisher said. "Valerie isn't actually pregnant. She wears a prosthetic silicone belly. It's a technique she's used before to gain sympathy and ensure the husbands change their wills. To have the perfect alibi," the detective explained. "A pregnant widow who tragically loses her husband raises less suspicion." That afternoon, Fisher discreetly installed cameras and microphones throughout the house. "We need video evidence." In 3 days, they had it all. Valerie swapping the pills, preparing flower capsules, rehearsing expressions of grief in the mirror. And then, the phone call that sealed her fate. She was talking to Vance. "The boy is taking too long to die, and the husband is getting suspicious. I need to take care of this once and for all." His response was cold. "The isolated country house. A drowning accident with the child. You claim a spontaneous miscarriage." "And the husband?" Valerie asked. "He goes with the accident too. The whole family dies tragically." That night, Valerie made the announcement Michael had been expecting. "I have a surprise. I'm pregnant. And to celebrate, we're spending the weekend at the country house." Arthur dropped his fork, terror etched on his face. "What a great idea," Michael lied, forcing a smile. But inside, he was already coordinating with Fisher and the police. That weekend would be the final sting. But in the early hours of the morning, her voice on the phone, captured by the microphones, echoed through the house. "We'll finish them both off at once tomorrow, Fernando. We can't leave any living witnesses this time." And his reply, "No one will hear the screams." The early morning was a long, silent war for Michael. Sitting in the dark of his office, each tick of the clock was a step onto a minefield. At 4:30 a.m., phone in hand, he whispered to Detective Fisher, "It's today. The country house. I heard the conversation. The police need to be in position, but she can't suspect a thing." Fisher had been waiting for the call. "I spent the night arranging everything with the chief. 2 tactical teams, paramedics, a helicopter. I'll be tracking your cell phone. You'll have 3 recording devices, watch, shirt, shoe. Arthur will wear an ultra-thin, invisible life vest under his clothes and a GPS in his sneaker. The team will be 500 meters away, hidden in the woods. When you say the code word Helen, we move in. But, Michael, you have to get them to confess out loud." At 5 a.m. he woke Arthur. "Son, today you need to be the bravest boy in the world." The sleepy boy asked with an innocence that broke Michael's heart, "Is today the day we catch the mean auntie, Daddy?" "Yes, my son. Today justice will be served." He explained the plan in the language of superheroes, and Arthur, with the seriousness of a little soldier, understood. Just like in the movies, right, Daddy? The good guy always wins in the end. At 7 a.m. Valerie appeared, a false sunbeam in a yellow dress, the silicone belly perfectly positioned. "Good morning, my beautiful family. Who's excited?" Her eyes shone with a macabre excitement. Arthur instinctively hid behind Michael, whispering, "Daddy, I had a horrible nightmare. I dreamed I was drowning in a dark pool and Aunt Valerie was laughing. During breakfast, her words were knives disguised as sweets. The pool is lovely and very deep, Arthur. You'll be able to swim all you want, far away from any help." In the kitchen, she studied him. "Are you sure you're okay, honey? You seem a little nervous." "I'm great, dear," he lied. "This weekend will be perfect for relaxing." Her smile was cold. "It will be perfect. It will change our lives forever." In the garage, he saw her stash a hidden cooler bag. "What's in there?" "Oh, just some special medication," she said. The 2-hour drive was torture. The roads grew more and more deserted. Her calls to Dr. Vance, captured by the recorders, were a script of death. The child first to make the father panic, and then a syringe of potassium for him. Arthur, pretending to sleep in the back seat, clutched a teddy bear, his small totem of courage. The country house was a perfect trap. Isolated, surrounded by dense woods, and on the porch, smiling, was Dr. Vance. "Michael, what a wonderful surprise." "Of course, Doctor," Michael replied, shaking the hand of the man who planned to kill him. "The more the merrier." Arthur, upon seeing the doctor, trembled and clung to his father. "Daddy, why's the doctor here? I don't want a shot today." The house felt heavy, the windows barred. The pool in the back was a dark pit surrounded by trees. Valerie gave a tour. "Our perfect getaway, far from everyone. No one will bother us here." The emphasis on "no one" was a threat. The sandwich she prepared for Michael had a bitter taste, a sedative. He discreetly spit it out. 15 minutes after going into the garden, Arthur came running back, breathless, the red welts of an allergy flaring on his skin, his breathing labored, all part of the act. "My God!" Valerie screamed. "It must have been a poisonous plant." Dr. Vance stood up, medical bag in hand. "Calm down, I'll take care of this." He pulled out a pre-filled syringe. "I'll give him an anti-allergen. One simple injection and all his problems will be over. Forever." But Michael stepped in, scooping his son into his arms. "No, I'm taking him to the hospital in town." Their reaction was immediate. "Don't be so dramatic, Michael," they said in unison. "It's dangerous to transport the child like this." The masks fell away completely. Valerie blocked the door. "You're not going anywhere, Michael. Not you, not the kid." Her voice was glacial. Dr. Vance advanced with the syringe. "The child is getting this shot now, whether you like it or not. So you finally show your true colors," Michael said, buying time. "No use pretending, Michael," Valerie scoffed. "We know you've figured some things out, but it's too late." She stroked the fake belly. "Soon, I'll be a very rich, pregnant widow." Dr. Vance detailed the plan with sadistic pleasure. "This isn't an anti-allergen, it's potassium chloride. It will stop his heart in 90 seconds, a fatal anaphylactic shock. And right after that," Valerie continued, pulling out another syringe, "you'll have a massive heart attack from the grief." Arthur started to cry, but Michael whispered, "Remember the superheroes. It's time, champ." The boy nodded. "Do you really think you fooled everyone?" Michael provoked. "Like when you murdered Catherine? Or my mother Helen? Or Robert Silva, Fernando Costa, and Charles Miller?" The shock on their faces was confirmation. "How the hell do you know those names?" Vance demanded. "I know Valerie is Valdirene Souza, an ex-convict, and I know you, Dr. Vance, falsify reports." "If you know all that," Valerie said, "why did you walk into the trap?" Michael smiled. "Who said the trap was for me?" At that moment, Arthur screamed with all his might, "Help! They're trying to kill me!" And he ran towards the pool. "Get back here, you brat!" Valerie yelled, chasing after him. At the water's edge, she caught him, and with a violent shove, threw him in. Finally, problem solved. But Arthur didn't sink. The vest kept him afloat. "What the hell?" Valerie muttered. And then the sound she never expected to hear. Sirens. "Surprise, Valdirene," Michael said, emerging with Dr. Vance already restrained. Police cars surrounded the house. Armed officers stormed the yard. "Police! Hands in the air!" Valerie tried to run, but tripped on her own prosthetic belly, which fell to the ground, revealing the final farce. "This can't be! How did you know?" she screamed as she was handcuffed. Fisher, the detective, appeared. "We recorded everything, Valdirene, every confession. There's no escape this time." Dr. Vance was still trying to deny it. "This is a misunderstanding." "Respectable," the police chief scoffed. "We have evidence of at least 7 murders. You'll spend the rest of your lives in prison." Arthur got out of the pool, wet but safe, and ran into his father's arms. "We did it, Daddy. The villains are arrested." Michael hugged him, tears finally streaming down his face. "Yes, my brave hero. You're safe forever now." As they were led away, Valerie screamed, "You can't arrest me. I'm pregnant." But an officer held up the silicone belly. "Pregnant with lies, just like everything else in your life," the chief said. "Valdirene Souza, you are under arrest for first-degree murder, attempted murder, criminal conspiracy, forgery, practicing medicine without a license, and fraud." A week later, the case exploded in the media. The legal process would be long. The families of the previous victims contacted Michael. Mrs. Rosa, Robert Silva's mother, wept on his doorstep. "For 8 years, I knew my son didn't die of a heart attack. That woman destroyed my family, killed my son, and then my little grandson, Pedro." Arthur began therapy immediately with Dr. Marina, a specialist in childhood trauma. The first sessions were difficult. Nightmares, refusal to take medicine, panic at the sight of unfamiliar blonde women. "It's normal," the psychologist explained. "He associates that appearance with danger. It will take time." Michael felt guilty, but the doctor reassured him, "You saved his life. Now it's about patience and love." In the first few months, Arthur regressed. He started wetting the bed again, developed a stutter. "Daddy, what if the mean auntie escapes from jail?" he would ask every night. 6 months later at the hearings, Valerie's lawyer pleaded insanity, but psychiatric evaluations proved her lucidity. Dr. Vance took a plea deal, confessing everything. We killed at least 9 people in 10 years. 18 months after the arrest, the trial began. The courtroom was packed. Valerie entered in handcuffs, wearing an orange prison jumpsuit. Arthur testified via video conference. Despite a nervous stutter, he was brave. The mean auntie. She gave me fake medicine, and she killed my mommy and Grandma Helen. I was very scared of her. His innocence moved everyone. The trial lasted a week. The evidence was overwhelming. Dr. Vance was sentenced to 35 years. Valerie received the maximum sentence, 55 years in prison, with no possibility of parole for 20 years. Upon hearing it, she had a genuine panic attack. I'm going to die in jail. For the first time, she felt the fear she had always inflicted. 2 years passed. Arthur, now 8, was making progress in therapy. He has developed an emotional maturity beyond his years, said Dr. Marina. He can recognize lies better than many adults. Michael founded the Catherine Helen Institute to help child victims of violence. I want to turn our pain into something positive. Can I help too, Daddy? Asked Arthur. Can I draw cards for the sad children? Valerie was serving her sentence in isolation, despised even by the other inmates. Dr. Vance was working in the prison infirmary. Ironic. Arthur still visited the cemetery, but now the visits were cheerful, telling good stories to his mother and grandmother. Mommy, today I helped a new boy at school. In therapy, he processed the trauma. Dr. Marina, I'm not angry at the mean auntie anymore. I feel sorry for her. His capacity for forgiveness impressed everyone. On the 3rd anniversary of Valerie's imprisonment, Arthur was planting flowers in the garden, in the very spot where he had dug through the trash. Daddy, where our adventure began, there are beautiful flowers now. That means bad things can turn into good things. Michael smiled, tears of pride in his eyes. It means that when good people fight for justice, they always turn pain into love. And you, my son, are the proof that good always triumphs over evil. Arthur hugged his father. We're a strong family, right? We'll always take care of each other. And in that flowered garden where everything began with despair, now grew hope, love, and the certainty that justice, even when it's delayed, always prevails.